Hello, and thank you for tuning in. Some years back, when I was brand new to photography, I used YouTube videos as a way to teach myself photography. And I came across some videos where specialists or people who have been really a long time in the industry, they were giving their advice when it comes to specialization. And basically, they said that you need to specialize, and maybe it was the way they said it. This was, people had been in the industry 20, 30 years, and they were all men. They were all middle-aged. I've happily forgotten who they were, but I just clearly remember seeing those videos and thinking to myself, I probably need to specialize. Lucky for me, the way they said it in those videos, maybe they were a little bit condescending, I don't know. But someone says something like that to me, you should go in that direction. Immediately, maybe because of the way it was said, I felt a strong urge to do exactly the opposite. So that's what I did. I didn't specialize. I tried many different things. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of specialization versus not specialization. And my answer is that you should actually do both. That may sound a little bit complicated, but let's start by looking at two photographers that I follow on Instagram that have a very clear profile and have specialized clearly. It's Alan and Rachel. I'll just take you through some of their astonishing images over at Instagram. So first up is a guy called Alan Schaller, and I absolutely love his work. You can see one of the things he specializes in is pet photography, and often as street photography, but here you can see it clearly, it's taken at home. And you can see every image that he does is black and white. Very often he uses reflection. He knows a thing or two about composition. Here you have some long shadows. He often preserves his highlights. You can see that he loses details in the shadows very much. And this is a brilliant example of that, where this guy standing here in the light is in focus clearly because there is so much negative space here in the image. And composition is definitely a stronghold of his. And you can see that, again, reflections, composition, beautiful use here of also negative space again. And, bringing this together timing-wise, I think it's really, really good work. Again, preserving your highlights, the pets here, and you can see here there's some wonderful images here. I mean, this is this is almost like Disney stuff, right? Especially this guy. Look at those eyes, right? So this is absolutely amazing work by this guy, and I really love what he does. And he's super specialized. As you see, everything is black and white. He has a clear concept that he sticks to, and he clearly knows what he's doing. He's an excellent photographer, but he's not all over the place. He doesn't mix black and white with color. He doesn't mix, landscape with street photography or something like that. He sticks to a very specific concept, and for that he is pretty known, as far as I know. And I would say this guy is specialized. Another photographer that I follow on Instagram is Rachel Talibat. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And you can see here Rachel has specialized in the ocean, and especially in, images of waves as they break. And some of these images are astonishing and beautiful at the same time. Others are a little bit more, what I would say, classic landscape images. And you will see that she names them according to mythology, I think it is. And it is, again, a very, very specialized profile. The only deviation I can see is whether it's monochrome or black and white, and whether it's a classic landscape or maybe more you can say a study of the wave as they break. And you can see here an absolutely astonishing image of a wave as the wind sort of catches or drives the water away here, and the wave is breaking here. I have never seen the ocean like this before I saw Rachel's work, and I'm a big fan of of the things she does, and also she does, more traditional landscape. But again, it's all centered around the ocean, and very often either black and white or monochrome, and very often with a long shutter, so you get these blurred areas in the image together with some very sharp areas. So again, very, very specialized. There isn't suddenly, an image from her vacation showing up here, or a candid portrait of someone in a street photography setup, or anything like that. Very, very specialized, very clear profile, very easy to remember what she does. And if you want an image to look like this, that looks like this, she would probably be the one to go to, right? Because she is so specialized. Look at this one, 4,800 likes, and you can see that it almost looks like a figure here, and also she has named it according to that. So really, really a specialized photographer, just like Alan, but a whole different ball game. So let's talk a little bit about this thing. Do you want to be a professional? And this is a crucial question, and this is the question that is never asked when you see these videos from people who have been 30, 40, 50, many years in the business, right? They are professionals, and as such, they assume that you also want to be a professional, because they cannot imagine what it would be like to be an amateur in the photography world. And I think it's only natural. If you have a hammer, then everything becomes a nail. And if you're a professional and people come to you and ask for advice, of course you assume it's the professionals that come to you. But many of us are not professionals, or only part-time professionals. And therefore, I think you need to ask yourself, do I really want to be a professional? And if the answer to that is yes, then outwards you need to have a very clear profile. But if you're still in the process of learning photography, then inwards, it's a whole different game, right? Because, and this is about meeting yourself at the level where you're at. So when you hear these super experts talking about you should have a profile and all that, it is true. But you also have to think about, where am I coming from? And my experience with photography, and I can talk about this because I'm still relatively new to photography, and many of these old timers, they have forgotten how they learned. They have forgotten the process they went through. And my process, and I can say this, and this is why I also say you should not specialize, is that you learn the most if you try different types of photography. My main line of photography is nature and landscapes, period. And that's also my profile, to some extent. But the thing is that I have tried flash photography, product photography, micro photography, many different types of photography. And every time I do that, I learn a little bit more about photography. And the really fantastic thing is that you can take the things you learn in other lines of photography and use that in your main line of photography. So let me give you an example. When I shoot with flashes, or when I do that, I have learned so much about hard light versus soft light, light fall off, composition, because you're often working in a small studio where composition is an issue and you have to cram things together in a very small space. So it's the point is that there's so many things from other types of photography you can bring into your main line of photography. So use this as a playground or a learning space, whatever you want to call it, for you to grow. And if you specialize too soon, if you cut away all this and say, okay, this is my line of photography, I will only do this, you will probably become very good at it because you're specialized, but I think you will also run into a creative rut very fast, because it will be the same and the same and the same again. And maybe also within that narrow space, you will have difficulties in being creative because there's, you don't have any inspiration, or you lack inspiration, right? So my strong advice to you is both to learn photography faster, but also to have some inspiration from other types of photography to carry into your main work. Keep your work as diversified as you can. Be playful and don't specialize inwards. Of course, you should practice your main line of photography the most. That's not what I'm saying. But make sure you try as many things as you can get your hands on, because as I say, it really lifts you and you will learn photography faster. That's the strange thing is that if you despecialize, in my experience, it was first when I tried to do many different things, all of a sudden I could see some commonalities and some differences between the different types of photography, and that really helped me to get on top of things and feel confident with my main type of photography. Okay, so how do we execute on this in real life? I think that what most smart photographers do is that they have one account for their professional work and another account for the rest. So for the rest you can be playful and learning mode. You can upload images from your vacation, experiments, whatever. So you keep that separate, but that's perhaps an account where only you are linked to your friends and family. And then your professional account is where you put your disciplined work that's within your concept, within your marketing and branding strategy, if I can say that. That's a big word, but the two examples we saw with Alan and Rachel. And I think that's the way to do it. So have I done that? No, I have. I have an Instagram account, unfortunately, that is a big blur of these two. But I think that is the way to do it. If you want to be professional and you're still in learning mode and you still want to be creative and playful, I think that's the way to do it, that you have a little playground that's separate from your professional. And that goes for all the channels you're using, if it's not only Instagram, but many other channels. I think that is the way to do it. I'd love to hear your comments. What is your experience? What are your thoughts about this? Please let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.